Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out Scouse, not English. Why is Liverpool different from the rest of England?
Say this city's name almost anywhere in the world, and people will recognise it. Whether that's for its football,
Fabinho's got some space, he's got 300
its rich history, or the music that was born here. Because as British cities go, few are more iconic than Liverpool.
Yeah, all I really know about Liverpool are that the Beatles are from there. I love the Beatles, by the way. And it's by the ocean. And I think it was voted or appointed to be some kind of cultural mecca. Is that the right word? I'm not sure, but yeah. Oh, I also know that they have a football team.
The friendliness of people here has really taken me aback.
From the welcoming nature of the people here to their unique accents, Liverpool feels different. Some Scousers, as people from Liverpool are called, think of it a bit like a city-state, separate from the rest of the country. And many don't identify with England at all, displaying banners like Scouse not English.
Really?
Liverpool fans have even been known to boo the British national anthem at football games. So what's this divide?
That would not fly in the United States. Oh my God. You could get away with doing it legally, of course, but you'd probably get a lot of dirty looks. That's really taboo.
So what's this divide all about? And why has Liverpool ended up so different from the rest of the country? We were here to find out.
We made it to England!
We made it! Yeah, that's what got us here.
Wait,
We
what?
made it.
They sound English to me. What do they mean they made it to England? Where are they from?
We'd made it through the south of the UK and had cycled around almost the entire coast of Wales. We were finally heading back into England to the banks of the Mersey River.
They answered my question immediately after I asked it. That's, well, I should stop interrupting.
And the city that sits on it, Liverpool. This is Britain's 7th largest city that 900,000 people call home. It boasts one of the most widely supported football clubs on the planet and was the European Capital of Culture in 2008, alongside Stavanger in Norway.
Okay, so they were voted the European Capital of Culture. That's what I was thinking of at the beginning.
It's also the home of the Beatles, one of the most famous rock bands of all time.
The greatest.
But the chances are you know all this, because these are the classic tourist tropes. They're what Liverpool is marketed on. What do locals think makes Liverpool Liverpool?
When our backs are against the wall, everybody is there to help you. It doesn't matter which part of the city you come from, what colour you are, what race you are, it makes no difference. Everybody sticks together, takes care of each other.
Love that.
I think Liverpool's got one of the best personalities. For me, it's how musically alive the city is. It's all just based on music, and the musical history it's got, I think, is incomparable.
I think it's unique in its people. The people themselves make Liverpool. It's not about Liverpool, it's about the people of Liverpool. And I believe that's what makes us stand out. I think we're unique, I think we're friendly.
I'd say like the football as well, that's a massive part of it. The football.
Yeah, everyone's either Everton or Liverpool, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
The main thing I'm gathering is that people in Liverpool are really friendly. They love football, and they're very proud of Liverpool.
You can go to any part of Liverpool and you'll always be welcomed. If you're in any type of need, you'd always help you.
That makes me wonder what the homeless population of Liverpool is, because if there's homeless people, then they need help. Why aren't they getting help? Let's see. Let's look that up. 1,078 people. That's good. Out of 900,000 people? Well done, Liverpool. But we can always do better, can't we?
Of all the cities in England, Liverpool in particular is known for doing things its own way. There's even a unique name for people from Liverpool, Scousers or Scouse. Why? Well, the story begins with whalers, who came to Liverpool in the 17 and 1800s.
So the only people who could do whaling around Europe were the Norwegians. So we sent for a crew of Norwegian sailors to come over and go to the Arctic. Obviously, there was a Liverpool crew as well, and they joined the ships as well. And these lads, to keep warm, they had their own beer, and they used to have a fire, and they used to put meat, they used to put potatoes, they used to put carrots, and it was called lobsters. So the Liverpool lads, when everything dies down, and they joined other ships, and they started to make this lobsters, just like the Norwegians did. So when people from around the world met sailors, they said, "Where are you from?" And they said, "Liverpool." They go, "Ah, Scouse."
I've never heard of Scouse. Oh. It is a thing. I mean, it seems pretty simple. Beef, potatoes, and carrots?
Back then, Liverpool was a booming trading port. So important that it was sometimes referred to as the New York of Europe.
When you look back, Liverpool, it was incredible. It was an incredible port with lots of activity. Liverpool was known as the second city of the empire, obviously behind the capital London. Because of the trade, there was immense trade, and it was incredible.
On a map, it does look very well placed to be a port city. Again, well done, Liverpool. Whoever decided to settle there, very smart.
The bustling docks produced the unique Scouse accent you'll hear if you visit today. It's unlike any other in the UK, and was a result of the melting pot that this city became, where people from all over the world with different ways of speaking mixed together.
Oh, wow.
And it's most influenced by Irish, Welsh, and Norwegian immigrants.
Okay, the Irish and the Welsh I could totally see, but I would never have predicted the Norwegian influence on the accent or with the food.
Nowadays, though, Liverpool has an unfair but pretty bad reputation, and people often joke about it being a lawless and dirty city.
Oh, well, welcome to the club.
Don't go to Liverpool and steal your hubcaps or your wheels or whatever. And this is the way Liverpool are portrayed. Unfortunately, Scousers. Why are you going to Liverpool? You end up being beaten up. You're being burgled. They always get looked down upon. Always get looked down upon by the press, the English press. Unfortunately, for some reason, we don't know.
Is that recent?
You know, we're looked at down the noses, you know, especially accents.
Frank often has to battle people's preconceptions about him that are based purely on the way he speaks and where he's from.
When I tell them I'm a lecturer, you don't believe me, simply because of my accent. It's gone now that it's water off a duck's back to me. It's the way it is. It's just the way people perceive Liverpool. Liverpool's got a terrible image, even today.
That reminds me of the way that a southern accent is seen in America. It's probably not quite as bad as it is in the UK, because I've seen some videos that say that class structure in the UK is much more drastic and harsh and abided by than it is in the States.
In reality, the problems that any major city faces, crime, litter, and so on, are no worse here than anywhere else. So how did Liverpool go from being the second city of the British Empire to one that has so often been looked down upon by other parts of Britain, where so many of its residents feel Scouse rather than English?
We are
Well, Liverpool has always been a bit independent. Part of that can be put down to immigration, particularly from Ireland following the Irish famines in the 17 and 1800s, which really changed the demographics here.
Leave
At
the
one
Irish
point
alone,
in the
y'all.
1950s, a quarter of Liverpool's population was Irish-born. It also has such a large
quarter.
Welsh population that it's sometimes jokingly called the capital of North Wales. All these people from different places, some with less than stellar opinions of the rest of England because of tension between the English and Irish and Welsh, gave the city a distinct sense of self.
I feel like that's an age-old human nature kind of response to people from places that are not where we're from. Tribalism.
But it was the 1900s that really drove a wedge between Liverpool and the rest of England. And it began with a general strike.
So in 1911, there was a general strike here. They wanted decent wages. They wanted some sort of parity with other cities. They wanted to live a life rather than struggle.
When they say a general strike, do they mean everybody just struck for higher wages in general? That crowd looked gigantic.
And that was a massive struggle that they had, and a massive struggle against the government, because the government at the time sent up 50,000 armed troops.
Wow, never heard of
They
that.
sent for 6,000 police from Birmingham and Leeds to take control, because the police here in Liverpool said, we can't fight against that many people. There were 2 dockers shot dead by police.
Wow.
Everything had stopped. Everything. From the dock workers, they stopped. Everything. Railway, everything was stopped. And Churchill, he actually sent up 2 frigates to train to go on the city.
Wow.
Just in case. Because they said we can't afford anarchy to spread out into the country.
That got serious. He's sending warships up to Liverpool to control the city, just in case. Wow.
Can't afford
Wow.
anarchy to spread out into the country. So we were on our own there, and unfortunately, it was squashed. Did the workers get anything? No. They never achieved much, fortunately, during that particular strike. So it was over by September. The strike was over.
Okay, so they just said it started in the summer, so it must have been a month or 2. That's a long time to have a whole city striking. Amazing.
Let's jump forward a little closer to the present.
Love the 80s.
Almost 40 years since the end of World War II and the independence of India, and the British Empire was long gone.
Add to that changes in shipping practices, like containerization, and Liverpool's docks were becoming less and less important compared to other ports like Dover. Less trade meant fewer jobs, and unemployment and poverty skyrocketed to some of the highest rates in the UK. The city was suffering.
Need to get some of those Beatles dollars in here. Re-release Hey Jude, build a Beatles museum, start a podcast, get those Yankees in here to come see John Lennon's house, right? Let's do it. $50 each.
Enter Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister of Britain through the 80s from 1979
Get it
to
done, Margaret. Come
1990.
on.
And this is where it gets dark.
Uh-oh.
Because rather than invest in Liverpool to get it back on its feet, her government planned a strategy of managed decline.
What the Conservative government wants to do, they wanted to manage decline a city, and Liverpool's changing. Don't
Dumb.
invest in it, don't do anything. It's like getting a balloon,
Why would you do that?
blowing it up, and just letting it out slowly. Just see slowly degenerate
That's horrible.
into nothing.
What would be the advantage of that? I guess it's probably easier and cheaper in the short term. Wow. Margaret.
The Conservative MP, he said, I'd like to build a wall to show future generations how we lived or how they lived. And that was shocking. That was shocking to manage to decline a city as strong as Liverpool.
Some in the government saw the 1981 Toxteth riots in Liverpool, which were sparked by racism in the Merseyside police force, as an opportunity to start this managed decline, or strategic abandonment.
More than 100 white and coloured youths fought a pitched battle against the police. At daylight, the police began a series of charges to break up the gangs massed in front of them.
All this
Wow.
unrest and the government's response pushed Liverpool even further from the rest of England.
Wow, I had no
For a lot
idea.
of people, it was 1989 that was the last straw. The year of the deadliest sporting event in British history. The Hillsborough disaster. At the semi-final of the FA Cup between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest in Sheffield, Yorkshire, police mismanagement of a crowd of Liverpool fans caused a crash.
Oh, God.
It took the lives of 97 people
Wow.
and injured another 766.
Jeez. Man.
It was the police force's fault, but they covered up their failings, feeding false stories to the press, blaming hooliganism and drunkenness of the fans themselves for the disaster.
It's not just an American thing.
Disaster, which happened on the 15th of April, 1989, and I was actually there. I'm a survivor of Hillsborough. Because now it's, very recently, another victim had died. And it used to be 96, now it's 97, because the coroner came out and said this lad who had recently died, he just became the 97th unlawful victim. Unlawful. So it was, people are still fighting for justice, unfortunately. And it seemed that everybody, turned their backs on Liverpool. Everybody, the whole of the country. And you had the Sun newspaper who came out with the truth, though. It was shocking what they were actually saying about Liverpool fans, and they caused it, and they were drunken yobs, and they were urinating on, the police who were trying to help, and they were also pickpocketing the dead, which was scandalous to say the least. It was scandalous to say these things. And it's shocking to think how people turned their backs, especially against the 97. And there still isn't justice. Albeit that they were unlawfully killed. People still believe that it was the Liverpool fans, but they've been found not guilty of it. They've been exonerated from what the Sun called the truth. And yet they never really apologised. They should have had a front page, and the Sun newspaper is actually banned here.
So the police mismanaged this game, the crowd control. 87 people died, 96 at the time, I guess, but eventually 97 people. And the media is backing up the cops, even though it was their fault. That's horrible. I like that they've banned the tabloids there now. I like that. That's great. Do it in the rest of the world.
So now you have a big Liverpool banner saying Scouse, not English, only because of the press and the bad name Liverpool gets.
That's logical.
The lies about Hillsborough were built on negative stereotypes about Scouse people and Liverpool. And it worked. The police spent 30 years blaming the victims, and a lot of people believed what they were saying. When the police force eventually had to pay out compensation for their lies to bereaved families, lawyers called it one of the largest and most shameful cover-ups by a police force in history.
I'm glad they were held accountable and paid everybody up. That's great. I hope it was a substantial amount.
Of all these events, the Hillsborough disaster and the injustice that followed are the most fresh in Liverpool's collective memory. It was only in 2016 that an investigation officially placed the blame on the emergency services.
Where's my phone? How long is that? 27 years later. Justice moves slow.
That an investigation officially placed the blame on the emergency services. So now, over 100 years since Winston Churchill sent gunships up the Mersey River, this city is set apart from the rest of England. And this is what happens when people who feel Scouse, not English, hear the British national anthem.
I get it now.
A lot of people wonder why Liverpool has been treated this way over the last century. Maybe the London press didn't like the city's rebellious nature. Or perhaps classism is to blame, since it's always been a very working class city and an epicenter for the fight for workers' rights.
It's probably a big part of it.
Whatever the reason, Liverpool has been through a lot. And yes, it has the same problems as any major city. But it's about time it was recognised for what it is, not what the media makes it out to be. One of the country's most musical and artistic cities, home to some of the friendliest people in England. The city that gave us the first ever passenger railway, the very first X-ray department, and one of the first ever wireless radio broadcasts.
Hey.
A hub of culture, home to the country's oldest Chinatown, built by people from all over the world.
They have a
that saw
Chinatown.
the highest of highs in its heyday and is bouncing back from the lowest of lows it endured in the 20th century.
Good.
It's incredible what Liverpool have achieved and what's gone out, but unfortunately we get no credit. And this is what people, they really need to be educated about Liverpool.
Agreed.
Instead of having this negative look at Liverpool. That's the way I am. And I will shout at Liverpool from the tops of the roofs.
Good for you.
I've been asked, what does it mean to me to be a Scouser? Well, Scousers are very, very proud people. When I go away and people ask, where are you from? I say Liverpool. They go, oh, you're a Scouser? Yes, of course I'm a Scouser. I don't put on accents. It's the way I speak, because people have said, do you put this accent on? I'm very, very proud to be a Scouser. Just leave it at that.
Wow. My gosh. That was fantastic. I love Liverpool. I feel so much empathy for the whole city and what they've gone through. I've been wanting to go to the United Kingdom to visit, and I sort of wanted to go to Liverpool before because I'm a Beatles fan, but now I want to go there for a while. It sounds like a lovely place. It sounds like a really supportive community. And I remember at the beginning of the video, the main thing everybody was saying, that everybody's really friendly and welcoming and helpful. And it kind of makes sense. Since they're all going through all this stuff together, they're used to having each other's backs. They're used to pulling together when the rest of the country treats them like crap. And I think it's so kind of cool that the Beatles are from there. I mean, in a way, it makes sense that they came from somewhere like that was so, like, rebellious. Cheers to all the Scousers out there. You have my respect. I love this video. This was wonderful. Thank you guys for recommending. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Later.